There has never been a company quite like Amazon. Conceived as an online bookseller, Amazon has reinvented itself time and again, changing the way the world shops, reads, and computes. Amazon has 225 million customers around the world. Its goal is to sell everything to everyone. The brainchild of Jeff Bezos, Amazon prides itself on disrupting the traditional way of doing things. A few weeks ago, the company announced it was launching Sunday delivery. Tonight, for the first time, you will be introduced to perhaps Amazon's boldest venture ever. Over the last month, 60 Minutes was granted unprecedented access inside Amazon's operations. If you have ever wondered what happens after you've clicked and placed an order on Amazon, take a look.
The story will continue in a moment.
If there's such a thing as Santa's workshop, this would be it. A 1.2 million square foot distribution center the size of more than 20 football fields, gearing up for the holiday shopping season. There are 96 of these warehouses worldwide, what Amazon calls fulfillment centers. Tomorrow, on what is known as Cyber Monday, it is expected that more than 300 items a second will be ordered on Amazon.
If you go back in time 18 years, I was driving the packages to the post office myself, and we were very primitive. The internet is...
Jeff Bezos is the founder and CEO of Amazon with an estimated worth of at least $25 billion. He sold his first book on Amazon in another era, back in 1995. Part of what Amazon customers expect.
Yes.
We want it now.
Yes.
What's happening at the fulfillment centers that have made that possible?
The secret is we're on our 7th generation of fulfillment centers, and we have gotten better every time. When I was driving the packages myself, one of my visualizations of success is that we might one day be big enough that we could afford a forklift.
You've got forklifts.
We've got forklifts.
There is very little Amazon doesn't have.
Right now, we're really in the center of what is the physical manifestation of Earth's biggest selection.
Amazon Vice President Dave Clark showed us how the process begins. After the products arrive into the building, they are immediately scanned. The products are then placed by stackers in what seems to outsiders as a haphazard way. A book on Buddhism and Zen resting next to Mrs. Potato Head.
Here's what I want to know. This is a Swiffer, all right?
Yep.
It's sitting next to the Encyclopedia of World History. That doesn't make any sense to me. Does it make sense to you?
It does.
What?
Because those two things, if you look at how these items fit in the bin,
Yeah.
they're optimized for utilizing the available space.
Oh, I see.
And we have computers and algorithmic work that tells people the areas of the building that have the most space to put product in that's coming in at that time.
Amazon has become so efficient with its stacking, it can now store twice as many goods in its centers as it did 5 years ago.
Anything you want on Earth, you're going to get from us.
Anything you want on Earth, you're going to get for us.
That's where we're headed, I believe.
Once your order's placed, a so-called pick ambassador walks the aisles, plucking and scanning your items before placing them in bins. Those bins eventually wind up in front of a packer who knows exactly how big of a box to use based on the weight and amount of items. Your address is slapped onto the box, and then a picture is taken of your address label. Gadgets known as shoes sort and divert the boxes to the appropriate spiral chute based on the postal code. This accelerates the delivery process. The boxes are then loaded onto awaiting trucks, which are assigned to particular regions, Raleigh, North Carolina in this case. Amazon uses more trucks than planes because so many distribution centers have been built near customers.
If you can do this with all these products, what else can you do? You guys can organize the world.
Well, you've got to start somewhere.
But the company's also started same-day deliveries of groceries in 2 cities. Milk, vegetables, and dry goods, to name a few items. Amazon Fresh began in Seattle, and only after 5 years
How are you?
has it expanded to Los Angeles.
I have peppers for you.
What is it you're trying to learn that's taken you 5 years to learn?
How to make it make financial sense. You know, what's not to love? You order the groceries online and we deliver them to your door. but that's very expensive.
But is this the holy grail for Amazon? I can deliver it on the same day.
It's a possibility. If we can make this model work, it would be great because it extends the range of products that we can sell.
All right, here we go.
Amazon is now flowing into other areas far removed from its original mission as an online bookseller. Amazon Fashion, launched this fall, sells high-end clothing.
Tell me, what is Amazon today?
I would define Amazon by our big ideas, which are customer centricity, putting the customer at the center of everything we do. Invention. We like to pioneer, we like to explore, we like to go down dark alleys and see what's on the other side.
On the other side of Amazon's online retailing is a business customers know little about. It is called Amazon Web Services, AWS, and may soon become Amazon's biggest business. To keep track of its massive online orders, Amazon built a large and sophisticated computing infrastructure. Amazon figured out it could also expand that infrastructure to store data and run websites for hundreds of thousands of companies and government agencies on what is known as the cloud.
How much of the internet do you run?
It's a good question. It's a lot, though.
What's a lot? What's the neighborhood?
I can tell you this. Most internet startups and a lot of big internet companies run on top of AWS. Netflix, very famously, and you could say, oh, that's very odd because Netflix, in a way, is a competitor of Amazon.
Other than Netflix, who else uses AWS?
Oh, big enterprises, big government institutions.
Like the CIA.
The CIA.
Does that present any conflict for you, the fact that you provide the cloud that the CIA uses for its data?
I don't think so. We're building what's called a private cloud for them, Charlie, because they don't want to be on the public cloud.
But the company continues to branch out in areas the public can see and touch. People read books the same way for centuries until Amazon introduced the Kindle e-reader. And Amazon has just released its Kindle Fire HDX tablet in typical Amazon style without making a profit on the device.
So you sell this at break even?
We sell this at break even, and then we
That's
hope
a
to
very
make,
thin margin.
It's a very thin margin, but we hope to make money when you
Sell all the stuff.
buy books
That's always
and
been your
movies.
philosophy.
Exactly.
Bezos believes low costs ensure customer loyalty to Amazon, even if it's at the expense of profits. Amazon is one of the rare companies that on a quarterly basis shows little profit and yet is beloved by investors.
In the long run, if you take care of customers, that is taking care of shareholders. We do price elasticity studies, and every time the math tells us to raise prices.
Well, why don't you do it?
Because doing so would erode trust. And that erosion of trust would cost us much more in the long term.
That long view, Bezos believes, gives Amazon a distinct edge.
That long-term approach is rare enough that it means you're not competing against very many companies. Because most companies want to see a return on investment in, 1, 2, 3 years.
You don't care about that.
I care, but I'm willing for it to be 5, 6, 7 years. So just that change in timeline can be a very big competitive advantage.
For example, Amazon's profits are redirected to building more distribution centers like this one in New Jersey. The more centers it constructs, the closer the customer and the faster the delivery. And every time a new center goes up, publishers and traditional retailers shudder. A lot of small book publishers and other smaller companies worry that the power of Amazon gives them no chance.
You got to earn your keep in this world. When you invent something new, if customers come to the party, it's disruptive to the old way.
Yeah, but I mean, there are areas where your power is so great and your margin, you're prepared to make it so thin that you can drive people out of business, and you have that kind of strength. And people worried, is Amazon ruthless in their pursuit of market share?
The internet is disrupting every media industry, Charlie. People can complain about that, but complaining is not a strategy. Amazon is not happening to book selling. The future is happening to book selling.
All right, let's rehearse, huh?
Amazon is also pouring money into original television programming that can be streamed to Amazon customers, like its first series, Alpha House.
I know why you're looking so smug. You stuck off to the White House again last night, didn't you?
A comedy written by Doonesbury creator Gary Trudeau about 4 Republican senators who live in the same townhouse.
Well, can we try that?
Amazon didn't select the show the conventional Hollywood way. Alpha House was picked out of thousands of scripts with the help of Amazon customers who reviewed the shows. You are using your customer base,
Correct,
to tell you rather than the opinion of some
exactly right.
Hollywood programmer.
We're changing the greenlighting process. Instead of a few studio executives deciding what gets greenlighted,
So-called tastemakers.
yes, we're using what some people would call crowdsourcing to help figure that out.
What other industry will Amazon disrupt? At Amazon's secret lab 126 in California, designers and engineers are experimenting on next-generation devices, the contents of which are eagerly speculated about. Are you working on a set-top box that will allow people to watch streaming video and not need to have cable television?
I can't answer that question. I don't, I don't want to talk about the future roadmap of our devices, so I'll have to just ask you to stay tuned.
Soon?
Charlie.
But during our visit to Amazon's campus in Seattle, Bezos kept telling us that he did have a big surprise, something he wanted to unveil for the first time.
Let me show you something.
Oh, man. Oh, my God.
This,
This is?
these are octocopters.
Yeah.
These are effectively drones, but there's no reason that they can't be used as delivery vehicles. Take a look up here so I can show you how it works.
All right. We're talking about delivery here.
We're talking about delivery. So there's an item going into the vehicle. I know this looks like science fiction. It's not.
Wow.
This is early. This is still years away. Drops the package.
There's the package.
Come and get your package. And we can do half-hour delivery.
Half-hour delivery.
Half-hour delivery. And we can carry objects, we think, up to 5 pounds, which covers 86% of the items that we deliver.
And what is the range between the fulfillment center and where you can do this within 30 minutes?
These generations of vehicles, it could be a 10-mile radius from a fulfillment center. So in urban areas, you could actually cover very significant portions of the population. And so it won't work for everything. You know, we're not going to deliver kayaks or table saws this way.
Right.
These are electric motors, so this is all electric. It's very green. It's better than driving trucks around. This is all an R&D project.
With drones, there's somebody sitting somewhere in front of a screen.
Not these. These are autonomous. So you give them instructions of which GPS coordinates to go to, and they take off and they fly to those GPS coordinates.
What's the hardest challenge in making this happen?
The hard part here is putting in all the redundancy, all the reliability, all the systems you need to say, look, this thing can't land on somebody's head while they're walking around their neighborhood.
That's not good.
That's not good. You know, I don't want anybody to think this is just around the corner. This is years of additional work from this point.
But years means 5, 10.
I'm an optimist, Charlie.
Yes.
I know it can't be before 2015 because that's the earliest that we could get the rules from the FAA. My guess is that's probably a little optimistic, but could it be, you know, 4 or 5 years? I think so. It will work, and it will happen, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
With the drones possibly taking flight in the not-too-distant future, Amazon is raising the stakes in the race for faster delivery. Jeff Bezos believes the company has no choice.
Companies have short lifespans, Charlie, and Amazon will be disrupted one day.
And you worry about that?
I don't worry about it because I know it's inevitable. Companies come and go, and the companies that are the shiniest and most important of any era, you wait a few decades and they're gone.
And your job is to make sure that you delay that date.
I would love for it to be after I'm dead.